This beast is totally parametric. I can do whatever I want to it. It's a monster. It all jiggles and wiggles and plays around and gets small. Mud flaps go nuts. There is nothing this thing doesn't do. This is outstanding. I'm just going to play through the hundreds of sliders that are associated with this in different blocks. I don't even know what, oh, I didn't even know I could bring those back tires in relative to the whole thing. I love it. I could drop them in closer than the exhaust, which is a bit ridiculous. Anyway, let's leave them out there hanging out. Low division. Oh my gosh. That's just the first block. If we deal with the revolves, oh my gosh. We got the wheel hubs, everything, the arches of the wheels changing. We got the scale of those tires shrunken down. I like it big. I can play with the hubs, which are just crazy on the sine curves, which I just go nuts for. Oh, I just need those tires big. Can't stand them small. I need big tires with mud flaps that react to them. I love it. Well, I don't even know what's happening here. We get another division. Spacing or axle related, I believe. I think I'm in the no, I'm in the revolve. Oh my gosh, it's just the axle and everything is totally controllable. I probably will keep the count in the center. Probably keep it around 6. Actually staggered off to the right side a little bit. This will play with, oh, absolutely just the scale of the axle itself. You can see that playing off in the top, the right and the top view, and that affects everything. Everything is connected to everything in this. I wish I could show you the Grasshopper script. Factor 1 here for scale. Not sure what's happening. I'm just playing with the scale of the positioning things. I'll leave that one at 1. Not every slider has to be played with. The engine can totally be moved around all over this thing. Should keep in mind where it's been located when I start. I probably want it just above there, but not bumping into the tire. So a little close. My tire's a little big. It would run the engine. Rub the engine in this one. Not sure what this scale 3 here will do. Since it's an integer, I probably won't mess too much with it. Rotations, yeah, I can lift that right up. I lift that engine totally vertical above the wheel. I can bring it all the way down, and on top of that position, and with that the exhaust moves with it. This is great. I'm just going to ramble on a little bit as I play with each block. We're into the chassis now. Let's just play with the size of the, yeah, those are total control over the mud flaps. We could just go nuts with those. Really fun division here. I've saved it. That'll bring it right into the tires and angle everything and change the size of the chassis proportionally. That's getting pretty wicked looking. I don't know what I'm so much making. Another factor here is the inside and outside of the tires, obviously protecting the middle tires, and shrinks the chassis down so it doesn't hit the exhaust. This is just getting funky. Another scaled factor that can come in here independently and bring the shocks right in close. I can even turn the mud flaps out if I want and fold the chassis on the outside of the exhaust. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. I'm totally changing the design. I think I'm going to send this massive script to hundreds of nodes on to people and say, listen, what can you come up with? What can you do to this script? There we go. Playing with the shocks, which are now on the outside of the tires, which is nuts. I'll have to shrink them, and you can see the problem with the mud flaps is going crazy. Anyway, I should probably keep that position to what it basically was. I don't even know where we were at. I had it positioned in there somehow. The design is just nuts. I'll keep those steps the same. This is I've got this very subtle shift to a graph mapper that controls the position of where the shocks sit on a surface. So I probably could leave that. We'll move out of there and we'll jump in. Oh no, the chassis just continues and continues. You've got so much control. Point on curve. Not sure what's happening as I'm changing that from a point, but let's jump down here to a domain. Yeah, we can play with the height and the positions of those. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the tire's rubbing now, so I've really kind of messed up my model, which is why I don't play around like this without a plan. Wonderful control. Don't know really why it goes so nuts. If I took the steps, it's going to subtly change things, just make things a little smoother, usually on any range or any maths. This is a positive or negative playing off of positioning that. I probably want that at 0.5 in the middle, but you can start to skew things to the sides. Keep that one at 0.5 points on curves. You don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'm finding index numbers. I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z factors to arc things, just little subtleties. Factors are amazing. If this one running from 10 to 30, so there I can really scale those back down. I've turned them out, put the shocks on the outside of the tires, which is ridiculous. And then I've got another thing that's thin and thick in these mud guards. A multiplication factor here on an extrusion. Yeah, if you really want to give those mud guards weight, depending on what material they're made of, you can change that. Radius of the spheres can be played with ridiculously. Obviously, they're just something that connect the shocks. I'm going to have to shrink the tires. I think I'm just going to remember where I'm at. I'm right on rear suspension right now, but I want to go back into the wheel scale, and I want to shrink that down so we're not hitting so much with our wheels. So there we go. Now, that's a strange design, to say the least. Let's get back into the wheel rear suspension. Which has got some, that's just playing off where the suspension's touching off to the axle, the outside axle. Not sure where I'm going to go with this slider. A 5, it's a count. So yeah, it's just an angle of the shocks. This is another X factor, bringing it in and out, forward and back. Yeah, just dealing with the suspension. Not too many sliders within that one. It's really just a design thing, but it ends with quite a few sliders down here for not only the radius of the tires. If I adjust that, what am I adjusting? I'm adjusting the radius of the supports for the engine, and also the heights of those, how far up they need to go. I had a cool math one that would change the curves and play with these pipes, and I guess I missed that. That's a sine curve multiplication factor, and it's missing supporting the engine right now, so you'd have to play off of that until you get it back. Keep going. I'm into the engine unit now. The engine unit's pretty sweet. Just moving that in and out, lengthening it. It'll position the whole thing away, but you'll notice that that this connecting up with the axle and the belt drive, or the chain drive, that will adjust as you move the engine around. You can see that has a really nice parametric control over where you put the exhaust system inside and outside of the chassis on the right side. Oh my gosh, it's already 7 minutes. What am I adjusting here? Oh, just scale, non-uniform scale of the engine. As big and fat and puffy as you want to make it. You can play off of that. You can play with the extrusion width. I haven't even done that. I've got another thing here just for the fatness, just for the, like, how tight you want that engine coming out. Could you reduce this to hold it farther in? Maybe I'll make a plate of steel there and play with that, because I don't need the engine out past the wheel. I can always push it to it, which is fine as well. You got to think like how you make things. I've changed the scale of this so much, I got to zoom extends all, just get back into this tractor of a car that I've manipulated. As we continue, we've got some scaling factors here that are just the size of the stack on top of the engine exhaust, just up here, which is kind of a fun design. And actually, I have a lot. If you watch the top of this, it actually has pretty cool design here. When I get into the playing with the Z factor, I can button that in, make that really weird on top. I can also take it and balloon it right up if I want, make this button piece lofted from these arcs on top of it to center. As we continue with that, we've got some, what is this adjusting? This is adjusting the, have to take a look at that here a little better. That's just playing with the scale and size of this component that runs through the engine. And that should actually run all the way through this, so I could take that edit. I'm going to bring it up to about 5 and see what happens. And there we go. I've really enlarged that capacity of the engine on that side. It's a bit ridiculous. I don't build engines for a living, so I'm just having fun with this. I've got a Z factor here for height if I want to bring it up or lower compared to where it's at. Keep going with it. Some things got jumbled here. I've got a depth that I can bring in here on the Y if I want to connect that up to there. So I can build my own engine in its own kind of fabricated way. And then I've got the exhaust system I'm still working on, which is all these units over here. They're pretty tight in what they do. You can kind of keep an eye on them here and watch them change as they go over. And you're not going to see much on this side, but what I've got going on there is an ability to kind of position that exhaust anywhere I want on that face, that reparameterized face, and I think there's a pretty good spot. I can bring it in, I can extend it out, scale it in a Y. So many factors. The rotation's nice. I can actually get these pipes like you're actually fabricating steel pipes down here, and as I twist and bend them, they're all parametric, kind of like bending and forming pipe and then having to weld it back together. Yeah, so that's kind of fun how I positioned that around. I'm trying to get to an angle that you can see it in the yeah, you can see you really play with that, and you can play with that on one twist, you can play with that on the other twist. So you can really have interesting control. I keep it at 0.5 because that seems to work. I still have numbers. This is a factor of 1, so I'm just going to type in 2.00 on my grasshopper, see what happens if I start changing this factor. And oh no, that's just going to move that too far up. So I want to leave that one probably just at 1. So that's a double, I guess, an intake for something else in a minute. Like I said, I'm not an automotive person, so this is all kind of experimental. And there's your diameter of your exhaust. So really fun stuff. And in the end, you're left with pretty awesome parametric control that if I start giving this thing up to people and we have fun with it, I mean, I made one heck of a change in that original form that was there just by playing parametrically with this. I'm very happy with it, choosing what objects I want to go blue, take it to bake if I want, which is always nice. Let's bake this one and just take a second to do, and we'll just highlight that. And then let's swap that out with the visibility of what was there. So there was our other design. Let's take off this so we can't see it. So there was our first design, and here was our next design. So there you go. That is the power of parametric control at 11 minutes. Swapping one design for a next. Same program, totally different model. That's what I'm loving to see. Just absolutely loving it. So I'm going to leave that on. And of course, in swapping, I'm going to just ghost that other image above it. Maybe it would be nice to just do a technical drawing above it without imagery. So you see the one, and then you see the second one coming in. Really nice control. Absolutely in love with Grasshopper for Rhino. I haven't even gotten into the Python scripting I can do in here. Very simple maths, very simple non-tree structures, just dealing with lists and dealing with single items and putting this together the way I'd actually build a car traditionally. It's not the most intelligent thing I've ever done, but it is mine, and I'm going off on a template and not depending on anything brought to me at a RHINO. I've actually brought it in myself, so really loving it. Thanks for watching.